Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I thought we would do a fun card using lots of different stamp sets, but you can mix and match and use whatever you want. We need a stamp set with some script on, so I'm using Very Versailles. And then we need some little elements, so I'm using the little flowers from Under My Umbrella. I'm using the tiny little butterfly from Butterfly Gala with the coordinating punch. And I'm using the sentiments from Peaceful Moments, but any sentiment you want. And I'm also using the little heart from the dog set. Can't for the life of me think what it is at the moment, but I'm sure it'll come to me. So let me move some of these ones out of the way so they're not everywhere. And we're going to start with Very Versailles. And we're using up lots of little scraps and things. So we always have little pieces at the end when we cut down our paper and things. And we want to cut some inchies. So literally 1 inch by 1 inch. So taking our trimmer, we are literally just going to cut down a few inches. Now for this you need 9. So I'm just going to cut down a couple. And they're literally 1 inch by 1 inch. So literally we'll take the tiniest little pieces of scrap that you've got over. And you can see from this you can get quite a few little pieces out of here. So let's just do one more. Okay, so I've got 3 here, but you need 9. So just cut yourselves 9 little 1 inch by 1 inch pieces. Okay, and then we are going to take the Very Versailles and we're taking the script. Now, you can do, if you look at the size of this stamp, if you turned round and stamped your paper and then cut it out in the inchy, you could do that. However, I want the whole thing to be covered in the script. So if you look at this, it's not 2 inches wide. So by doing that, you're not going to be able to get them onto one sheet and then cut it. You're going to have gaps and things in it. So I wanted the script to be right the way through. So we need to take a good black ink, whatever is your preferred. And we're going to ink this up and take one of the pieces and literally just stamp over it. Let's release this little one. It up again, and I'm going to do the same. So you're going to do this with 9 of them, so you get script right the way running through it, because that gives that lovely sort of background piece. So there we go, we've got 3 pieces on there. And let me take my Simply Chamois and we're going to clean that off. You need some scratch paper underneath. I'm using our grid paper because it's got 2 sides to it, and then once it's over and finished with, I can just throw it away and tear the next piece off, so it works really well for me. So let's put this one back in on here. Now with these pieces we are going to use Sahara Sand as sort of our base tone. I want it fairly neutral. We need a sponge dauber, and we are then going to just use our sponge dauber, and we are going to sponge round the sides of these little inchies. By sponging them round the side, it means that the edges aren't so stark and they will stand out better on the cardstock that we're going to put them on. So that's one. I'm just going to do a couple of them, because I've done a lot of it in preparation beforehand, because you don't want to see me going round just sponging around the edges of all of these. So I'm just going to do 3. In fact, no, 2 will be fine. I've got that one over, so I can use that one for later on. Okay, so that is the pieces that we want on this. Now, let me just take my scratch paper out of the way here, so we haven't got this nasty piece sticking in the way. There we go. Okay, so that can just go into the bin now. And we've got a nicer piece. So what we need to do is we need to have 9 of these little pieces. So we've got 9 little inchies that have all been sponged round the side. And you can see that the script then runs right the way through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the couple that I hadn't done. 7, 8, 9. Okay, then we're going to take our piece of cardstock. Now, I've prepared some of this beforehand. We need a base of the Sahara sand, and that is basically just a piece of cardstock cut in half, scored in half, and then you have your card base. I've used some basic black, which is an 1/8 of an inch border. So again, measure how you want to measure it. And then the white piece obviously is an 1/8 of an inch smaller. Now for me, my white piece on this is going to measure 5.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And that just fits perfectly for the cards I'm doing. And I've matted it in the black just in preparation, because otherwise it will take a little bit too long to do this. So we are then going to put all of these pieces in on here. So you can put them up with dimensionals if you want to. I'm actually going to put these flat because I want the layering on top of this to go up with the dimensionals. So we need to just work out a line first with the appropriate spacing in between. Okay, and I think that that'll be perfect. So let me take some wet glue. Now the way I tend to line these up is I will take a corner first, and then I will line that corner up. So we can do it on the grid paper if you want to, but you are just going to give the same distance either side on here and straighten it up. It does take a little few moments. You can measure it with a ruler if you want to. I'm not a measure with ruler type person, so I do tend to just eyeball it, but if you want it completely accurately, you can measure your distances with a ruler. But I want to then have this one coming down with the same size border in between on there. So I think that's about right, maybe just tucked over a shade. Have a look at that. That looks better, doesn't it? So just ease that in so you've got roughly the same sort of border. And then if you do your middle one in the middle, you can then get that running better. So we'll look at that and get that spacing in the middle. Like that. Okay, so I need to see with my lights. I'm going to hold it up so I can see. Yes, that looks good. Before I put it down, wet glue is quite good because you don't commit yourself straight away. Okay, so we can now do the next 3. A little bit of wet glue out. And again, we can do exactly the same thing. So we need to have the same sort of distance between this one and this one. So we want that line to line up there, and then we can put it down. And this time we can just run it across because we know our positioning is going to be, has already been placed for us. So this one needs to come with the spacing between that one and that one. Like that. And again, you know, if you're somebody who struggles getting things absolutely accurately, then it really doesn't matter hugely because it is a handmade card. I always say don't beat yourself up about the small things. If you're somebody who really needs it absolutely perfect, get yourself a ruler and do it that way. But I just will sit and eyeball it so that it looks enough. By the time we've finished decorating it, it will be fine. So that's our 6, and then we just need one more row along the bottom. Put this one in on here, and again it's roughly the same amount of gap in between, like that. Take the next one, and put that one in like that. Ease that across just a little bit, and then we'll just put the last one in. So you can see by just sponging round those sides, it means that they show more. And as I say, I absolutely loved. You could use design series paper if you wanted to. I just wanted to use this because I really do love this, the very Versailles script on this. And if you're using little scraps, you tend to have more little scraps of white than you do of any other colour. Okay, so we can put that down, and now we've got our little pieces down on there. So it's now down to decorating, and you can really decorate it however you want. So if we take our, we've got the butterfly gala, and we've got the under my umbrella. And what I've done with these ones is to just again get little pieces of scrap that we've got. So you know, this will work perfectly, that little tiny edge piece. And you can just take one of the smaller flowers. So in here you've got 2 smaller flowers and 2 larger flowers. You want the smaller flowers in here. So if we take one of those just straight away onto a block, and then we can, I'm using Memento for this because I'm going to colour mine in with blends. So it just works better with that. If you're using watercolour, you can use Stays On, or as I say, whatever your preferred favourite ink is. So I'm just going to put one of these down on here. Ooh, it's come off a little bit, that's all right. It's only to show you as an example. And then we've got, let me have a look and see what the other one is. We were going to do the little butterfly, weren't we? So let's do one of the little butterflies. And I'm only doing these roughly. I have done them and cut them out. I'm just doing it to show you the colours that I used and how I coloured them in. So it's more just for an example rather than I'm going to use these ones. So I'm not being overly careful. So the butterfly, you've got the outside piece and then you've got the antenna. I'm just going to show you the colouring part so that it just gives you the idea of how you can colour them in. But you can use, as I say, whatever you want in little pieces. Any little tiny stamps that you've got. You don't want anything too big because you don't want it to detract from everything that you've got. So just use little tiny ones. We've got all sorts of different stamps. So choose whatever you want. Choose your own collection. And then it's down to colouring it. And you can colour it in whatever way you want to just add the definition that you want. So the butterfly, I chose light Bermuda Bay, and with this one I colour in the centre part of them both and then just go round the outside. So the inside and then just the outside of the wings. And then I'm going to take a completely different colour palette. So I'm going to take the, in fact I'm going to use the light. So the light mint macaron. And with that you are going to blend the whole thing through. Now by taking something from a different colour palette, it just gives a slightly different tone to it and really works well with the butterflies, and you can choose whatever tones you want. And then we're just going to take the little punch and we can punch that out. So again, it's quite easy if you cut yourself a strip to be able to just put the little butterfly in. And I would do the centre, which I haven't done, but I can do it afterwards. And I just wanted to show you the colouring. Says me trying to line this up. I'm taking it off of the thing because I can't see what I'm doing underneath the light. So punch it out, whoops, and it went flying onto the floor. But let me just grab that little piece. They always fly over where you want, but you've then got your little butterfly and then you just need to do your centerpiece. So that's the butterfly done. On this one I used the light old olive. If I can get the... Oh dear, I do struggle. Right, let's do the other side. So the leaves are just going to be in the light old olive, and again you can do them really simply like that. And then the centre is just going to be in dark Daffodil Delight. So just put the little centre in the Daffodil Delight. My brush has gone on this one, but that's fine. And then I just used a pink, so whichever one of the pinks you've got, and just colour it through with the pink. Again, you can use whatever colour you want, but those were what I did. Now the little flowers on this one, which is from under my umbrella, you are going to have to fussy cut out. Now, I've done all of that beforehand. So we have, oh, it's a little bit from cutting out. I thought I'd got a mucky mark on that after all that. So we have 3 of the butterflies. Do things in threes because there's 9 there. So we can take one there, maybe one there, and then maybe on this one over there. We've got those little flowers, and so we'll have a flower in the centre there. We'll have a flower in the centre there, and we'll have a flower in the centre there. And then I've just done 3 little hearts from the dog punch, and just sponged round the edge of those, so we can put those in on there like that. And you then have, we then put that in. I'm not going to put them down. I put them down with dimensionals, but I'm not going to do that. I might do some of it now. Let's do some of it now. I don't want the video to go on too long, but mini dimensionals for these are perfect. So we can just take a mini dimensional behind the butterfly. You only need one right in the center, and then we can put this just in on the center like that, and you have it standing up, which really by just popping it up, it just gives that extra bit of dimension in there, which is rather nice. And then I'm doing them all at the same angle in there because I want it to sort of flow. So that's those on there. Then we want these little hearts, which again, the mini dimensionals will fit on quite nicely. So let's pop one in on the center there. I must admit, I use minis more than I use the standards because they are, and again, I'm going to have those straight. Now I'm going to have those at a slight angle as well. I tend to put things on angles rather than straight because for me it's more pleasing on the eye. Sometimes it's good to have things straight, but sometimes it's just quite nice to have something on a bit of an angle, and I think these hearts work better just slightly on an angle rather than being completely straight. If you wanted to, you could turn the butterflies and have them sort of one side and the other. It's sort of entirely up to you, but let's just put, whoops, oh, I thought the dimensional had popped off. So let's have this one in on there. And then we've just got these little flowers in here. So, oh, and in fact I've done, right, I'm doing it that way. This is one of the other, I did several flowers. So this one is actually one of the different shapes. So I'm going to have the different shape in on the center like that. And then we'll have the other, which are the same shape on either end, so that it then just balances it. But as I say, have a look and see in your stash various different things that you could put on an inchy. So an inch by an inch, you can make it as intricate as you want, but just by doing 3, I think the background with the very first side just looks absolutely lovely. And this is a fairly simple sort of pattern. But then all we have to do is to put it onto our card base. So I'm just going to get some more wet glue and just put that in along here. As you know, wet glue is my absolute favourite. So put that in on there, and then we can line that up and just put that down on there. Make sure that I've got that reasonably level, and just put that down in like that. And there you have a rather beautiful card using the dimensionals to just put that up, and just various different fun things to go inside. So thank you so much for joining me. Do look forward to seeing you again, and as always, stay safe and stay well. Goodbye.